read off something. And this is still a good time to develop that skill where you can do it in a way that is both entertaining and doesn't bore people to death. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you your story, though you might not remember it this way. We're going to go back to when you were a child. You're 3 years old, sitting on the floor of a dingy carpet. Stale cigarette smoke cakes the air with butts and burns in the carpet. Trash leftover plates stacked over each other in the corners of the room. There is your single mother, too mentally, emotionally, and physically drained of life to clean up. After already having worked a full and part-time job, dealing with you and your siblings. You sit there, dirty smudges across your small, innocent face, and the hunger in your stomach you've become more than familiar with. You look across the small, dirty, lifeless apartment to your mother. There was the glazed over look in your mother's eyes. Tears ever so softly make their way down her face as she stares off into nothing. Trying to remember a time when life was even manageable. It's an escape. It hits you again, this awareness of how life is not all sunshine and rainbows. It's a hunger you can't place, a hunger worse than the one in your stomach. A pit of despair lacking in the nutrition of hope, a hunger for attention in which your mother, your once lively mother, has had a hard time giving now, given she's all but empty herself. She is young, only about 22. Some girls her age would just be graduating from college, but she never even made it through high school. Having to work at a young age to help around the house and take care of you and your siblings, she had prematurely from men as broken as she, who couldn't commit. A woman who, despite her own lack of education, lack of support, guidance, and love, did the best she could with what she knew. It was still not good enough. She, like you, never really stood a chance. She never learned in or outside of school how to best love or be loved by somebody, how to communicate and lead effectively, how to control her emotions, or how to walk away from someone or something. She never learned how to manage her stress or deal with her problems. She never learned what her gifts or strengths were, or what would best fulfill her passions and dreams, or even that she could. She never learned what most people really need in life to be happy or to make it. The things most people take for granted and are too quick to ridicule others for not getting it. She, your mother, like most mothers, only wish the best for you and your siblings. But she sees no way out of this cycle. You see it in her, the same feeling your young mind can barely comprehend at the moment. You see your own reflection of despair in your mother's eyes, and you begin to weep. Flash forward. You're now a teenager walking the halls of your school. A hall full of people hoping someone notices, wishing someone actually cared enough to walk with you, cared enough to get down in the trenches with you and pull you out. Too sick and tired of these empty promises people often make when they tell you, you can do it, life will get better, you can be what you want. They holler from the top, never bothering to meet you at your level or stay with you through the thick and the thin until you make it. They pat you on your back to send you on your way, or the pat on your back they give you to send you on your way is really just a reflection of their own self-indignation. A patting of themselves on their own back. A form of teaching out or preaching out, but rarely ever actually reaching out. Though good intentioned, they lack the action and support needed to really mean anything to you. You're a teenager who's now withdrawn from the world. Too many times have you reached out for comfort as a child to a mother who was withdrawn, a father never there, and the men who come and go from her house as quick as they came. Like ghosts, empty with no names. You start to see this pattern over and over again. It's becoming wired into your brain. No one cares enough to help. You realize by now that working hard and doing things the right way don't get you anywhere. The only way to deal with life's problems is to retreat. Why would you believe anything else? It's all you've ever seen. Doing things the right way leaves you broken, physically, spiritually, and financially. Always a reminder that you'll never be enough. Never be enough in the high standards of high school politics. The other children and some teachers who are too quick to point this out to you as if you don't already accept it with a loathing, with an unfairness. This fear of forever not being enough is too passive to take idly by, so it turns to anger. An anger in which you can act out in, an anger in which gives you a fake sense of control in a world which seems to have too little, if any, care for you or the ones you love. A world in which lets you fall in between the cracks and then walks all over you wearing the shoes with the slogan, "You can do it." A play on words, the left offering help but only from a distance, never personal, never really there in your life with you. The right offering a more stern advice to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, or "I'll pray for you." Both sides happy enough with themselves to sleep at night, all the while you see them as ineffective and scared of really getting to know you, who you really are. So that's when you stop looking up and start and look down into the cracks you've fallen. You notice you're not alone and concede to this life between the cracks, accepting your fate, and find solace. You find it with others living down here with you. You find it in sex and substances. It's something that becomes your life and you belong. You finally hit bottom and you know who you are because you can't go any lower. When you find a friendship that you wouldn't have found anywhere else, still in all, there's a kind of intimacy with those that can go the distance. Sometimes you see the world so clearly, but you can only see from the point of view of being invisible. Fast forward again. You're in your early 30s, though you look like you're about 40. Drugs and a hard life have taken their toll on you. You think to yourself much like a late, great Edgar Allan Poe did. I have absolutely no pleasure in the substances in which I sometimes so madly indulge. It has not been in the pursuit of pleasure that I have periled life and reputation and reason. It has been the desperate attempt to escape from torturing memories, from a sense of insupportable loneliness and a dread of some strange impending doom. Your emotions are numb, thoughts of sorrow and misery cascade through your head on a regular. But they don't penetrate too deep, they can't. You've become an expert in numbing, an expert in turning away from life, turning away from lovers you've had when the relationships required even the smallest amount of work, turning away from the kids you had and gave up. You can't hold your kids or relationships together. You can't hold an apartment or a job because you can't hold your life together. Because to you, there's never really been anything to hold together. Nothing you can see anyways, beyond the pain, beyond the veil of numbness you've turned to. Numbing not only numbs the pain, but also numbs your ability to experience and see joy or genuine help. Your mind borders on mental illness. Paranoid, you can tell no difference between the hand that wishes to give from the one that wishes to harm. So again, you turn away from those who would have genuinely helped you because your trust has been diminished. Not only in them, but of yourself. You have by now tried a couple times to get help, been to jail, to rehab, but it's too much for you to deal with. Almost 30 years of problems, pain, and addictions undealt with all come crashing in on you, and it's raw. It's more raw than anything you've ever felt. It's battery acid to the brain, sandpaper to the soul, it's fire to the flesh. Thus the way your spirit you seek is paid through the gnashing of your teeth. To see your spirits cleansed of the veil requires thee to walk through thine own hell. But in thy hell, when thou seekst help within its brethren, it shall find and create its own bit of heaven. And when thy spirit unites with we, thou shalt know heaven and hell is what we choose to be. You are but a slave to your own vices and way of life. No crutches to lean on, only mental shackles that keep you there. Like that of elephants who are trained from youngsters and tied to a pole in the ground by a thin rope, all the way up well into adulthood. Lest do they know they have the power to break their bondage. But why try? It never once worked in the past. So you go on living the life the only way you know you can and know how. Flash forward some years later. Someone, a stranger, comes up to you. You're sitting on the sidewalk leaning against the wall of some building while holding a cup with some coins. They ask you, "Would you like some change?" You nod your head, feeling the shame that still stings after all these years. Though you extend your cup out a little further. They just slightly brush it aside and reach out their hand and say, "All right then, let's go grab a cup of coffee." There's a place just around the corner. You query about their intentions. Old flags of mistrust go up, and at first you want to dismiss them. But they seem harmless enough, and you could use a cup of coffee to counteract the substances in your body, leaving you feeling a little drugged down at the moment. As you guys arrive and sit down and sit across from each other, they tell you to get what you want and not to be shy while they order themselves some coffee and a piece of pie. You wonder what this has to do with the change they promised but decided not to bring it up. Just being thankful for the free meal. You even offer in your spirits to give them a little bit of your change in the cup to help. They tell you just to pay it forward. You ask, "Pay it forward," you ask. "Yeah," they say. "What you would have given me, give to someone you meet in the future who could use it." You've never heard of this idea, but you like it. "By the way, my name is..." "It's a pleasure to meet you. What's your name?" they say. The conversation then continues for the next 2.5 hours. You guys talk about life and many of its aspects, both good and bad, until the restaurant owners start giving you the eye that lets you know you're overstaying your welcome and it's time to go. As they close up and you guys leave, they tell you that as the owners close up and you guys begin to leave, they tell you they had such a wonderful time talking with you and that you have quite a strong spirit, though you feel it's broken. They insist on meeting you again over lunch or something sometime. You guys agree on a time and a date to meet up again at this diner, and they hand you their information to get a hold of them, and they ask you how to best get a hold of you. Months go by, and you always look forward to getting together on the regular. You guys are meeting up for coffee, among other things, like the movies and local attractions. They even invite you to their house to meet their family over supper. They introduce you as their friend and mentor that you've been teaching them about the perseverance of the spirit and humbleness of the heart. You blush at this, thinking there is no way you are their mentor. You have given them nothing, and in fact, if anything, they are the one that is helping you. But they won't accept that, but decide to meet you in the middle by saying, "Well, we'll agree we're just mentoring each other." You can't remember the last time you've had a friendship like this, if ever really. They ask you for help with things like putting their daughter's clubhouse together and shopping for the right gift for their spouse. They help you with things you need, like going to an NA and AA meeting with you because you're still scared and timid. And also helping you get a good start with a job at the company they work for. They just want to be your friend, to walk with you. Together in each other's struggles and achievements without judgment or a sense of superiority. They have no desire to fix you, only to walk with you. They, without telling you what or how to get better, or coming with the objective of fixing you, helped you get the life you were missing, the life you were looking for. You come to understand what they meant when they brushed aside your cup of coins and asked if you wanted some change. And to end with the quote of Mother Teresa, "Hungry for love, he looks at you. Thirsty for kindness, he begs of you. Naked for loyalty, he hopes in you. Homeless for shelter in your heart, he asks for you. Will you be that one to him?" That is it.